So I'm super excited today. I am joined by Krista Verhiel of Della which is a motorcycle company that she started. But I'm actually going to let you tell us all about. Tell us a little bit about more about your company, Krista.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for having me. Uh,
Yeah.
Della Crew is a clothing brand, kind of born from motorcycles, but really empowering like all women and all people. And now we have the first all-female Harley Davidson stunt team in the world.
That is so amazing. Just the fact that it's taken to us to 2024, but you're the person that did it, which is so great. The first like Harley Davidson motorcycle stunt team. So tell me a little bit, like, what do you all do? And like, what kind of stunts?
Right. Yeah. So, wheelies, burnouts, that kind of thing. So basically, there's not very many women in the world who stunt motorcycles to begin with. And then when you niche it down to Harley Davidsons, there's even fewer. So I don't know for sure, but my estimate is there's about 20 women in the world who stunt Harley Davidsons. And we kind of become friends online because when you find someone who's doing what you're doing, and there's not very many people in that tiny little community, and we became friends and we started riding together, making short films together, and then we were like, let's just like make this official and make a team. So now we do that, travel around, putting on shows for people.
That's awesome. That's awesome. How did you get into it?
Well, my husband studied, like mostly like just for fun. But he does ride on another stunt team now, and they do shows periodically. And all of my friends stunted, and I'd never even rode before. I was just riding on the back and loving that part of it.
Mhm.
Still getting enjoyment from riding on the back, and I had like a major lifestyle change in 2018. I got clean and sober, and very quickly I was like, hey, like I'm a little bored. And my husband's like, go get your motorcycle license. And I'd never even considered it. I'd never rode a dirt bike, nothing. And I was 33. And I just thought, sure. So I went and got it. And by the time I came out of the driver services center to taking my test, like just to have the little paper to start learning, my husband had bought me a bike. So I think he was waiting for a while.
He's actually like secretly just had this motorcycle in the storage garage for like 5 years. He's like, one day she is going to be getting her papers, and then I'm just going to be like, look, and I had this thing just
Yeah.
hanging out here just in case. So
Yeah. So that was cool.
that's amazing. I mean, and I love like we've actually really we have like sober studs and everything like that. We've actually explored like very much so like I'm like sober curious person, and then like really kind of explore. So I think that's really interesting. And then I think it is kind of this like, sometimes I think I'm kind of curious, when did it make sense when you kind of were like you had become sober, that you were like, I want to kind of now do something else that's kind of exciting or something like that. Was there that part of it?
Yeah, and I think like for me, like I was really deep in addiction, so like having a hobby or things that brought me joy wasn't really something that I had. I didn't really know what I liked. I
Yeah.
all I did was kind of do that. So yeah, so I just like started kind of exploring like other things and getting a little bit more familiar with like what brought me joy other than drugs and alcohol. And turns out I'm an adrenaline junkie too, which might not be great, but I mean,
I was just say like it gives you it's obviously giving you like tons of dopamine hits and like adrenaline hits, so it's like and that brings you joy. So at the end of the day, if it brings you joy and it's not harming you, then I would
no,
say go for it.
not
So
harming, not harming anyone. Bringing a lot of fun, a lot of joy, a lot of relationships to my life, my children's lives,
yeah.
and we're all happy. And it's honestly like such a positive for us.
And I think that's so interesting because I know you had mentioned that you have 4 kids. How have your kids' journey along with you kind of becoming part of this like stunt team with now, creating it? Have they been really excited, or sometimes they're so young and they like are oblivious. Like I know
Mhm.
my children are like oblivious to the fact that I own my own business. They're always like, yeah, that's just mom's work. Like doesn't everybody's mom like ride a Harley? Like
Yes. They're kind of like that. The younger ones, like they're just like, this is what my mom does. Like, why doesn't your mom do that? Like they have no idea. But my older two are like really inspired, and it's such a cool, I yeah, like I just describing that feeling, like it gives me goosebumps, because to be someone that my older kids are proud of, or all of my kids, but to be
yeah.
someone that they're proud of means, it's just such a far departure from where I was at one point in my life. And I do have two girls out of the four, and they really believe, like right to their core. Like it is a core belief for them that they can do anything that they want, anything they put their minds to. And they just are such powerful girls. And it's nothing that I had to teach them or instill in them. It literally just happened naturally. And again, like the pride of being a mom who's like leading by example, and these are the children I'm raising, it's like it just like takes the weight off my shoulders, because I'm like, they're good. Like those girls
Awesome.
are little firecrackers, and they're gonna go after whatever it is that they want. And it might be crocheting, for Pete's sakes. Like I
Yeah.
don't care. It's nothing about the bikes. It's about, has nothing to do with riding motorcycles. It's about knowing that you can do whatever you want.
No, I think that's so true. And like, that's always like, I see that also in my daughter as well, where I'm just like, if you want something, just like go get it. Go
Yeah.
get it. And I think it's like, by doing that, it's like, it doesn't create these like boundaries or barriers. It's just saying like, these are all of your possibilities. And it just might be that you're one of the first people to make that a possibility for yourself. So you had mentioned earlier that this looks so different than your previous life. What was your previous life?
I was a mortgage broker for 12 years. Never rode a motorcycle. Uh, Briefcase, suit wearing, nylons, you know, just totally different person. And I was really good at that too, but I didn't get fulfillment from it.
Yeah.
And it's a really stressful way of being. um, all of your customers are in a really stressful time waiting to remove their subjects, and do they get their home? And so the
Mm.
energy of that job is just that constant pressure. And so yeah, when after I got clean, I was like, nah, I'm not going to do this anymore. And my husband was like, cool, I'm supportive, like what are you going to do? I was like, I don't know. So for 6 months I just did nothing. And then yeah, started writing, and then I was like, I'm gonna make a clothing brand. Like I don't see myself in these in this clothing that I'm finding. I don't see myself and my style out there. And like I want to ride a motorcycle, and I want to be a part of this community, but like I am fashionable. I am not into the stuff that was around, and like I wanted something different, so I made it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I mean, I definitely, so much of what you just said, I saw so much of like why I've always created my jewelry, just because I was like, I like jewelry, but I was like, it just wasn't what I wanted. And it was like, it either was like too extreme, or it was like way, way, way too safe. And I was like, where is this really like nice Venn diagram for myself? So your name of your company is really interesting, and I don't think a lot of people would know why it's interesting. So your name of your brand is Della Crew. Why is it called Della Crew?
Yeah, so when we were naming it, we were just like doing research online and trying to kind of like embody the like feelings that we wanted to have with our brand. And it really very much set out at the beginning to be only for women, and that did change pretty quickly. The motorcycle community is like the most unreal, welcoming community in the world. Like people think that it's one thing, and it is absolutely the opposite of that. It's like a bunch of super friendly people that are like, yeah, come in, I'll be your friend. So all the men were like, this is dope. And they started buying the t-shirts and stuff. So So it moved into a unisex brand. But having said that, we were researching like influential female motorcycle riders in
Mhm.
history. And there was countless stories that we found that were inspiring, but one specifically was a woman named Della. We slightly changed the spelling of her last name, but in 1914, she was a manicurist. She bought a Harley Davidson just completely on a whim, and she rode across the country and into the Caribbean alone with her dog named Trouble in a little sidecar. And in 1914, like there's no pavement, there's no street lights. Like we're talking like rough, like gravel roads. And when we learned about her, we were just like so inspired. So that was kind of like where the name came from, and and why we chose it is that it was like so powerful, her story. Like, could you imagine the like conquering your fear of doing that? You're just like, all right, I'm off.
No, I mean, I'm just actually doing the math in my head right now, and I'm a little like 1914. I'm like, did women even have the right to vote? I was like, part of me is telling me it was 1910, and then part of my brain's telling me it's like 1918. Like, literally, like, didn't even have possibly the right to vote or just got the right to vote, and then you're off. Yeah. I mean, and also the dog named Trouble. Are you kidding me? Like, this woman was ahead of her times in the best way possible.
She was. She would have been my best friend.
Oh my God. I know. I like want to know her. And I mean, I remember like kind of before she was like from Wisconsin. Obviously, like I'm from Minnesota. And so I was like, oh, well, this is cool. Like, and that just like even makes it even more strange to me a little bit because I can only imagine what an area like upper rural Midwest was like, in 1914. Like, that's bananas. I love
Yeah.
that. Yeah, holy cow. Also, the name Dela Cruz is such a fabulous name. So, like, yeah,
And
that's
we gave
awesome.
an ode to her in the first short film that we made last year. We called the film Looking for Trouble. Yes, kind of side nod to her and the dog.
I think I'm going to name a dog Trouble now just because of
Right.
this. So, yeah,
Here, kitty, kitty, kitty. And then here comes the dog.
yeah, that's amazing. So, if people are interested in obviously coming and seeing and supporting y'all, like, how do they find out? Like, when are the next stunt performances? How do people get involved? Tell us all the details, Krista.
I am most active on Instagram, so that's at Della Co. And I post there all the time. If you message there, it's me you're talking to. I don't have like a social media team or anything. So yeah, all of our shows are posted on there, and then there is links to like our website to shop, a bio of like all the riders and some of the stuff that we have coming up. But Instagram is definitely like my preferred platform and kind of where I like hang out the most.
Awesome. And when is your next show?
Next show is Arizona Bike Week. So first week of April, we're April 5th at Westworld, which is like right downtown Arizona Bike Week. And that show is brought to you by Harley Davidson. So that's the first time that they are supporting our show, and first time in history that Harley Davidson Motor Company has hired women for a stunt show. So
Oh my
huge.
God, that is huge. Oh my
Yes.
gosh, congratulations.
Thank you. And then the following day, we're at a different location for Arizona Bike Week at Castles and Coasters for another like car bike show, and that's going to be rad too.
That is amazing. So, curious, what's your favorite stunt?
I am like newer to stunts. I like I said, never rode even a dirt bike before,
Yeah.
so I can wheelie. I'm not the best wheelier on the planet, but our team is made up and comers, of seasoned veterans, of some of the best female riders in the world for sure. So for me, it's a sit down wheelie, two hands on the bar, and fighting my brain that's like, this is scary, put it down. So I'm working towards a one hander. And then after that, who knows? The sky's the limit, right?
No, I mean, I think that's so true. Because now, like, how long really have you been writing for then, Krista?
I've been riding a motorcycle, like any motorcycle, for 5 years.
That's
And
insane.
I've been stunting for a couple of seasons, but I do live in Canada. So, for example, I haven't rode since the end of September.
Yeah.
So we're out for, much like where you are, I'm sure there's snow and rain and all kinds of weather. So yeah, we
It's
only
not ideal conditions from time to time. Yeah.
and I think that's what leads to, like, there's not very many women in Canada at all that do this. So I was actually the first Canadian female to wheelie a Harley Davidson. So you just only have a few months, like
Yeah.
you out and then you're sidelined. And by the time you get back on your bike in March or April, you're like, I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. Like, you have to start all over.
You're like, what is this thing? How do I do this again?
Out loud. Wow.
Yeah.
Are you sure I wrote this?
I think that's like there's beauty in the four seasons, but yes, if you want to continually practice something, it can be a bit of a setback from time to time. And hence why Arizona makes a ton of sense to have a bike week in 2 weeks. So that is amazing. That is amazing. Well, Krista, thank you so much for your time today. It was so great learning about you and your company. And I know I'm coming to a future event, so you're gonna find us. So yeah. So thank you so much.
Okay. Thanks for having me, Larissa.
Thank you. Cool. And then it's